How's everyone doing tonight? That's good. You guys enjoying that fest so far?
Yes.
That's good. So actually, yeah, I was adopted from India when I was younger, and being adopted from somewhere, I get the question a lot is, don't you want to go back? And I'm like, go back? We already have a poverty-stricken third world country here with barely intact laws and water contamination. We just call it Flint, Michigan. When I was a kid, though, I used to get tourists and terrorists mixed up. Now, when you go and visit another state and tell the locals that you and your family are just a bunch of terrorists here to see the landmarks, can land you in a lot of trouble. Another, more now that I'm older, is the stereotype of, oh, you're Indian, what do? Drive a taxi? Now, if my geography is correct, India is in Asia, and we all know how good Asians are at driving. And I'm actually blind in one eye, so being blind in one eye, that affects your depth perception, and being Asian, you do not want me anywhere near a car. I actually drove my Camel here today and still crashed it. So recently we had the election stuff. Did you guys vote? Nice. I got a buddy on Facebook who is always posting, you know, political stuff and all like that. He's always trying to get me into politics. And me being as honest as I am, I know nothing about politics. I don't understand the terminology, and I don't care to. He's like, don't you care about your future? And I'm like, yes I do, and that's why I don't want politically stupid people like me making the decisions. I mean, you don't go ask a plumber to go build atomic bombs just because they've dealt with blow-ups before. It's not the same thing. Now, however, unlike me, some of these people actually have money, get into politics, gain a cult following like Hitler, and get elected. We just call them Donald Trump.
Okay. I know you were hoping for tall, blonde, and busty, and instead you've got short, crippled, and winky. I'm sorry, guys. This is what you're gonna get. I've got a neurological disorder. It causes me to have muscle spasms all over my body, in my face, in my neck, my back. And yes, I know what you're gonna ask me. It happens every time, also in my vagina. Yeah. That's right. It's like involuntary Kegel exercises. Ladies, you do your Kegels out there? We do our Kegels. You gotta keep those muscles healthy, you know? And now it's just one less thing I gotta think about. It's real good. I got a vagina like a vice grip in there. It's good times. Yeah. So, when you're disabled, people, they ask you a lot of very intrusive questions sometimes. The other day, someone come up to me and they're like, hey, can you have sex? And I was like, yeah, it's just gonna cost more. This is a specialty. Yeah. So I'm married. I've been married for 13 years. I wasn't disabled when we got married, so we're taking this in sickness and in health thing really seriously. For richer, for poorer is to be determined still. He doesn't have a lot of complaints, you know, but he does have one major complaint. He says, when you are banging someone with a permanent fuck face, it's kind of hard to tell if they're having a good time or not. So I have to reassure him, you know? I'm like, baby, no, it's good, it's good. It's just like it was before. I'm still faking it. Yeah. So, do you guys ever think about what would happen if there wasn't actually a zombie apocalypse? I think about that a lot. I know what's going to happen to me. I'm going to die. Someone is going to see me walking along. You guys saw me walk up here. And they're going to shoot me in the head because they're going to think I'm a zombie. Or the zombies are going to get me because I am fucking slow. It's just going to happen. So I thought, you know, maybe I need a big, strong guy to protect me. So I asked my brother. He's a military veteran, big, tough guy. I was like, buddy, you can take take care of me, right? He's like, hell no, I'm gonna put you down. You're gonna slow me up. That's the kind of loving family I have. It's wonderful. So I've had brain surgery, you guys, 2 times. 2 times, and they still haven't fucking fixed me. And I still had to pay for it. It's really shitty. But when you have brain surgery, a lot of stuff goes on in the hospital. And I remember very specifically this one time, this woman comes in and she's real peppy. She's like, Megan, we're gonna do some tests now. And I was like, whatever, okay. She's like, okay, I want you to subtract by 7, starting at 100. I was like, are you shitting me right now? You want me to do math 12 hours after I had brain surgery? I gotta do math before I had brain surgery, but hey, I'll give it a shot. So I was like, all right, 100 minus 7, 83, 36. She's like, okay, you can stop now, it's okay. She's like, let's do some words. And this is a true story, you guys, true story. Let's do some words. I want you to name everything you can think of that starts with the letter F. Really? Here we go. Fuck, fucking, fucker, fuckery, fucktastic, fuck socks, fish. She said I was more of a words person, so yeah. Oh man. You know, I haven't always been disabled, but I've learned a lot since I've been disabled, and the number one thing I have learned is that no matter where I go or what I do, I am a fucking inspiration. I am so inspiring. Admit it. Some of you out there were thinking, oh, look at that little cripple. She's gonna come up here and tell us some jokes. She is so brave. How special. Let me tell you how inspiring I really am, you guys. The last 4 days, I didn't shower. I took a lot of fucking drugs. And I binge watched like 3 series on Netflix. It's just amazing. I am something to aspire to. I'm living the life, you guys. Living the life. Yeah. But I'm living my life. I love to do karaoke. You saw me up here, some of you. I was out a few weeks ago doing karaoke. I was up on stage and I was doing my thing. And I was all like, and I will for something like The Voice or America's Got Talent. They love a cripple story. They love it. Anyway, I'm up there doing my thing, and this guy comes up on the stage, and he comes up and he puts his head on my shoulder, and he's waving his hand in the air like he just doesn't care. And I'm like, I am an inspiration. I'm starting to believe it, you guys. I'm so inspiring. And then later I found out he was just trying to faith heal me. Man, religious people, they love a cripple, man. They love us. They're always coming up to me and they're like, oh, Jesus loves you. God has a plan for you. And I was like, really? Jesus loves me? I heard that's a stairway to heaven and I'm gonna have a hell of a time getting up there now. And God has a plan for me? Before I was disabled, I was a respiratory therapist. I saved people's lives, you guys. Children's lives. I worked at the DeVos Children's Hospital. I did. And now I can't do it. So instead, I'm standing on stage talking about my spasming vagina. So I think God must be really proud. He's like, yep, good job, lady. Oh, man. So you see my mobility device here. I use a cane, but sometimes I need to use a wheelchair. And there's a common misconception about wheelchair users. Not everyone is paralyzed. As you can see, I can use my legs, but sometimes I need to sit down. So I was at the store the other day, and I was in the liquor aisle. I was in my chair, and I'm looking for some vodka. And I don't see any right in front of me. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I don't see any. So I stand up, and I look up at the top shelf, and I hear this woman behind me, and she's like, praise Jesus, it's a miracle! And I turned around, and I looked at her, and I was like, no shit, I thought they're out of vodka. Man. Oh yeah, being disabled, it's good times. People always have a lot of questions, and And especially when you don't see someone for a while, when you weren't disabled and now you are. And so I was at a family gathering, and there was a lot of family I hadn't seen in quite some time, and my teenage cousin, she comes up to me and she's like, "Oh, Megs, what happened? Tell me what happened." So I had to tell her the truth, you guys. I had to look her straight in her sweet little face. And I was like, "Well, this is what happens when you suck a lot of dick in high school." It's true. Well, guys, that is all I've got for you tonight. Thank you so much for coming on, supporting Laugh Fest and Build This Club. Have a really good time up here. Thank you, Brian.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys way too much about myself. I do watch a lot of TV, and recently I saw a commercial for the first response pregnancy test, and it said, "How would you like to know you're pregnant? The moment it happens." And I thought, well, that would sure ruin a good buzz, right? It'd be like, "You're pregnant," and I'd be like, "Damn it! Get out of the car. And take your buddy with you." My mom called last year around the holidays asking for stocking stuffer ideas, so I told her condoms. I can never have enough of those. Condoms are expensive for something you only use once, or twice in a pinch. Well, my mom wants grandkids really bad, so she said she was going to poke holes in all the condoms that she put in my stocking, which left me with no choice but to re-gift those. Now, I have done some crazy things over the years, but I've learned that I can pretty much get away with any crazy thing I do just by saying it was my birthday when I did it. I got pulled over for speeding, and I ended up getting naked with the officer, and then I stole his uniform, but it was my birthday. I was just having a little fun on Facebook. I decided to check myself in at a swingers convention, and then I tagged my ex and his wife. She teaches at a Christian school. I'm sure they're forgiving. It was my birthday. And I particularly hate these up here. Those lines really bug me, and people say those are frown lines. I don't have frown lines. I have dumbass lines. Because every time some dumbass says some stupid shit, I make this face. Thanks, dumbass. Well, I do joke around a lot, obviously. I'm very sarcastic, and occasionally I'll even joke around after sex, but unfortunately not all guys share in my sense of humor. I was in bed with this guy, and I said, "On your way out, just leave the money on the dresser and send in the next guy." Obviously, I was just kidding, because I always collect the money up front, and I would never schedule them that close together. But dating is tough these days. If you're out there dating, you know it's a lot of work. You gotta be open-minded. You gotta be ready to try new things. And I was seeing this guy, and he wanted us to do a little role-playing. So I was like, "Okay, put on this uniform and pretend that you're a cop." And he said, "All right, and you put on this blonde wig and pretend that you're your friend Amy." And I was like, I don't really think that's the way this is supposed to work. And then he said, "How did you get my brother's uniform?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna play along. Give me that wig." So I put on the wig, and he came over and started trying to undress me, and I said, "Oh no, Amy wouldn't do that this early in a relationship." So then he thought I'd be a smartass, and he was like, "Well then why don't you just blow me?" And I said, "No, Amy doesn't do that ever." So we didn't role play anymore after that. But I did hear that Amy's boyfriend went out and bought her a wig and asked her to do a little role playing as her friend Tanya after he saw my act. He also called to thank me for all the condoms I gave her for Christmas. I'm a good friend. I was out on a date with this other guy, and we were having a really great time, and we decided to go back to his place, and I felt it was time. We'd been on 8 or 10, or it was our first date. I don't remember who was counting. But I was really excited to go back to his place because his parents weren't going to be home. So I'm in his room, and as I'm sitting on the top bunk, I couldn't help but notice couldn't help but notice there was a condom wrap already in the garbage, and I was like, oh great, this guy's probably a player. It's probably a bad idea for me to be here. And then at second glance, I realized it was a Magnum wrapper. Well, now I was kind of stuck between a rock and a big dick, and I had no choice but to stay because now I was just curious. You know, the only thing more impressive than his big dick was the way his little brother stayed asleep on the bottom bunk the entire time. That kid can sleep through anything. My friends have given me the nickname Serial Dater because I tend to date guys who can't afford to buy me dinner. That's alright, it's just giving me endless material, like my next bit called You're an Asshole. If you send someone a shitty email and then you sign it, Have a blessed day, you're an asshole. If you throw your cigarette out the window of your Prius, you're an asshole. If you tell me a knock-knock joke and then proceed to tell me I can use it in my act, you're an asshole. And if your dating site profile picture has multiple people in it, 4 hot guys and then your ugly ass, you're an asshole. Well, we all know men and women think very differently, but I have even more proof of how differently we think. I was out with some girlfriends and one of my guy friends, and one of the girls said, you know what people think when they see one guy out with 3 women? Me and the guy nodded our head yes. And then at the exact same moment, he said big dick, and I said gay. We think very differently. But here's where I have to agree with guys. Oftentimes I hear these guys complain that their buddy says that their wife or their girlfriend is their best friend, and it drives them crazy. And I gotta agree with you, fellas. If I'm dating you, I'm not your best friend. So don't come running out of the bathroom all excited, waiting to tell me how you just blew out the bathroom. I don't need this information. I don't want to know how you just destroyed the bathroom any more than you want to check for blood on the back of my pants. There are lines that are not to be crossed. That's what I'm saying, okay? I also don't need to know how your buddy Joe slept with a skank and now he's got some weird shit on his dick. I don't need this information. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm fairly certain that down the road Joe's going to meet a nice girl. And he's going to want to settle down. And y'all are going to want us to be friends. So I'm going to be out having cocktails with this girl, bonding, sharing funny stories. And I'm going to decide to share the funny story about that time Joe slept with a skank and got some weird shit on his dick. And now I'm going to be the asshole. So keep that shit to yourself, okay? Well, I do like checking out live music too, besides comedy, and we've got a great music scene around the Detroit area, so I'm always out checking out concerts. And I was at a concert recently with some friends, and this guy came up to us. And guys, I get it. It takes some balls to approach 3 girls and a gay guy at the bar. But here's where he went wrong. He asked if we had had dinner prior to the show. Honestly, that's the sign that he used. Fellas, in case you weren't aware, this is not the universal sign for having dinner. So I politely showed him this might have been more appropriate, and he got all upset and said that I was making it dirty and that's not how he meant it. Then he gave me the universal sign for have a nice day as he walked away. So if you're in the bar parking lot and you happen to see me having dinner in my car, just remember to wish me a happy birthday. I'm online at TanyaMurray.com. You guys have been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Here we are Sunday night. You guys are still out here, so probably not even having to work Monday morning. So I imagine we are Bernie Sanders fans, huh? No? Are we? Don't tell me you like Donald Trump. You do? Holy mac. Well, wouldn't we agree the important thing is you vote, though, right? So make some noise, though, if in the last election we just had this past week, if you voted and got one of these I voted stickers. Did you get an I voted sticker? Did you see? Did you get? See, I'm still wearing mine. I didn't even vote. I just wear this so it looks like I'm a U.S. citizen. I knew they might get that here in Grand Rapids. Actually thinking of going to Arizona and selling these. one. Anybody need one? I know you do, right? Usually they'll need them in the kitchen. Oh, are we a politically correct crowd? Is that it? No Hispanics in Grand Rapids in the kitchens? Is that right? They got more Hispanics than the Tigers do. I only one notice that. Actually, you'd be glad to know I am a U.S. citizen, but I was born in Pakistan. Thank you for that warm response. And as you know, Donald Trump, he's trying to ban Muslims and be for Pakistan's Islamic State. People think I'm Muslim, but they're very strict. They pray like 5 times a day. I don't even know how to pray like that. Tim Tebow is more Muslim than me. Only prayer I know by heart is, God, I hope that test is negative. Do that about 5 times a day. And talk about Donald Trump, but you see now he's already said he's just started talking about Hillary. He's going to attack her, and even bringing up Bill and Monica Lewinsky. If you follow that, and if you saw Monica Lewinsky actually did a TED talk recently where she tried to make herself a victim. I tell you, that's hard to swallow. And I guess she just wrote a book, but the critics are saying it sucks. And the book's not very good either. So it was all right, but no cigar. A good way to blow $20. All right, just helping you build immunity. You're going to hear a lot of these Monica Lewinsky jokes. But they say the election is really important because the Supreme Court justice vacancy, right? So the next president might pick them, and they're thinking even like same-sex marriage could be reversed with the different Supreme Court justices. So did you see like this summer they had that Kentucky clerk? Remember that refused to do? Now when you saw this, were you like me? I was shocked. I'm like, there's gay people in Kentucky? Hard to believe, huh? So, Grand Rapids, are we okay with same-sex marriage? All right, who's married though? Make some noise if you're married. All right. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Isn't marriage all about the same sex? Night after night after night after night. I endorse different sex marriage. So I am divorced. Speaking of divorce, did you see on the internet the hack thing where this woman kept nagging and pestering her husband get those pills that would help him get an erection? So finally he complied, came back with diet pills for her. I'm not endorsing that. I just report what I see on the internet. And see what else I like to do, topical things. Did you see Peyton Manning is retiring? Did we watch the Super Bowl? Did we like that? Yeah. No? Okay. Well, did you see the commercials? They had that one where they were showing all the babies born 9 months after in the city that wins the Super Bowl. But that does explain why Detroit keeps losing population. And let's see what else is in the news. You follow that white woman that was acting like she was black? Remember who I'm talking about? Yep. Taylor Swift. See how we zig and then we zag. No, they had the real woman, I forget her name, but they were interviewing her, and finally she confessed. She said the reason she was acting like she was a black woman, not a white woman, was so Bill Cosby wouldn't hit on her. Learned that from Camille. Oh, drew the line. Let's see what else is in the news. All these sinkholes, if you follow that, they had, not too long ago, was a humongous sinkhole open up, devoured a man. Kim Kardashian. She does have a big ass though, doesn't she? And it's called Kanye West. Can't go wrong with insulting Kanye West. Well, actually that's my topical stuff I like to do because the truth is that I am a retired Ann Arbor police officer. I give that warm response. So I mentioned from being Pakistan, so whatever you think of my act, gotta be the only Pakistani police officer doing stand-up comedy in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Who looks like Johnny Mathis. I was hoping some of you would know. Young people have to Google him. And it is funny, often I don't even mention a regular comedy club that I'm a police officer because it seems like half the crowd has just smoked marijuana. Who wants to admit it here? Anybody? Because I mentioned oh, you do, okay. But I mentioned Ann Arbor, not a big deal there, right? Anybody know what the fine is? 25. Oh, you must have paid it. 25. Yeah. A lot of people say $5 with the hash bash. If you remember, they raised it. Currently, it's $25. What's funny there, if you have cigarettes, possession of tobacco for someone under age 18 is a $100 fine. So literally, we get these teenagers with cigarettes, but they're pleading with us. It's marijuana. So just to save $75, I'll do the math. I'm from Pakistan. And a lot of people don't realize, you might want to know this, the breathalyzer will detect if you've been smoking marijuana. People think it just detects alcohol, but the way we can tell is if we give you the mouthpiece and you go, thank you, officer. Pretty good clue, you've been smoking some weed. And of course, anytime you take enforcement action, people always think it's because their race or ethnicity. It's like right before I retired, I pulled over this gentleman before I could get his license and registration. He started screaming at me that the only reason I'm stopping him was because he's Mexican. It was so unfair. He wouldn't listen to me. This honest goodness truth. I had no idea he was Mexican. The only reason I stopped him, I thought he was black. Come on, Rap. That is not the only reason. He was with a skinny white woman. Kid, she wasn't skinny. Thank you for some of you laughing. Actually, when I first started, I'd be nervous to do that. Last thing I want to do was offend anyone, but I think we're too politically correct, don't you? Yeah, thank you. I think it's fun. Wasn't easy when I started. I'm not sure how the veteran officers did it, but they rewired my siren, so whenever I go pull somebody over, instead of usual police whistle sound, it would go. Took me 2 weeks to learn to do that. I think it comes natural. It does not. I have to go to Dearborn. Some of you have been to Dearborn, huh? Yeah. But I talked about the marijuana laws and same-sex marriage is legal. They're thinking on the ballot of you can actually vote to legalize marijuana. So I'm thinking the next frontier, even though I was a police officer, I think we should legalize prostitution. Oh, okay. Yeah, because you can tax it and everything, but I think what they'll have to do like they did with marijuana, where you get your foot in the door, so they'll have to legalize it for medicinal purposes. So you get a subscription if you're a sex addict. The different bills could be the spokespersons, Bill Cosby, Bill Clinton, and you, evidently. But I was thinking since it's for sex addicts, they're trying to wean you off it, so it would be for bad sex. I'm trying to think inside the box here, people. But the good thing would be is you can tax it, and then since it's for bad sex, all the women in Ohio could get a job. I was going to say Grand Rapids, but I edited it myself. Actually, the fun thing was when I was a police officer was arrested prostitutes, but I remember there was one, she had a really short miniskirt on, she was wearing crotchless panties. She came up and she's like, hey officer, you want some of this? Of course, I was professional. I said, no, I don't. She got offended. She's like, why, are you gay or something? I said, no, I just don't want any of that. I mean, look what it did to your panties. Besides, I could see her balls. I think her name was Caitlin.